Well, this is actually last week's episode. If you want to watch this week's episode, go to Spotify and search the ATFFBall show. Thanks for listening.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the third episode of the ATFFBall show. Today I'm going to be going over my first mock draft for the 2020 draft that's coming up in April. But first, before we get into that, let's get into our question of the week. This one's by Nate Alexander on Anchor.
With both free agency and the draft coming up in the near future, what do you think the right move for the Panthers is? Whether that is drafting a new player or picking a new one up in free agency. What position do you think that player would be, or players? Who would it be? And yeah.
Question. So, as all of you know, I have the Panthers as the tank team for 2020 for this next year because of their last great player, Luke Kuechly, retiring, and now it seems highly unlikely that their cornerback James Bradbury will resign. And I think this could help them a lot to get to the number one pick. However, if they're playing to win, I'd let Bradbury go, but I'd sign Byron Jones to a big 3-year deal, and I'd trade back in the draft with the Buccaneers, get their first and second rounders, and then I'd go draft interior defensive lineman Derek Brown because we all knew how bad the Panthers were against the run. However, that's not who I have them drafting because I do not think they will go all in this season. Obviously, they're going to try to win, but they're not going to throw everything they've got to try to win this season because I think they know their position and that they're not really a Super Bowl team this year. All right, well, now for the draft. At number one, just like everyone else, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals taking Joe Burrow out of LSU. Joe Burrow had a tremendous season at LSU. I mean, but the thing is, college success does not always transfer to the NFL. And I think he will be all right, but I don't think he's what everyone's making him out to be. Like, he's not the next Patrick Mahomes. He's not the next Tom Brady. That's not the level he's at least for now. We can't keep on comparing him to people like that for now. But I do think he can bring them to 5 and 11, 6 and 10. And I also think that people aren't expecting him to, like, people are expecting too much out of him. Like they're probably gonna do more runs and little dump offs to Joe Mixon at first just to get him comfortable in the system. He's not gonna be throwing for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns every week. That's not how it's gonna go. This is gonna be kind of more subtle season for him. It's not gonna be nothing too big for him, and they just want him to get comfortable in the system. All right, at number two, I've got the Ohio State Buckeye Chase Young going to the Washington Redskins. Chase Young, I think he is the most talented player in this draft, even though I think Joe Burrow should go first because they need a QB. But Chase Young, he's just so good. He's going to be one of the best defensive ends in the NFL a few years down the road. I think it's going to be easy win for Defensive Player of the Year for him. He's just great. He's going to get at least 10 sacks even in his first year. People thought that Nick Bosa was impressive in his first year. I think Chase Young's going to do even better than Nick Bosa did this year. All right, at number three, I've got Jeff Okudah, cornerback, going to the Lions. On this mock draft, I don't have any trades happening because I just want this. I'm gonna have trades in future mock drafts, but for this mock draft, just starting it off, I want to just keep it simple, nothing too big. So Jeff Okudah to the Lions at number three. If I was doing a trade mock draft, I'd probably trade down with the Dolphins, maybe the Chargers, just to because they can get Jeff Okudah later in the thing, but they need a cornerback, and Jeff Okudah is by far the best cornerback on this draft list. There's some other good cornerbacks in this draft list, but Jeff Okudah is going to be great for them. Great man-to-man corner. They already are missing out on some secondary players like, what's his name? Uh, Quandre Diggs, his safety, went to the Seattle Seahawks, so they need someone to replace him. And there are rumors that Darius Slay won't be on their team, so they need Jeff Okudah. At number four, I've got Jedrick Wills going to the Giants. A lot of people are saying Tristan Wirfs because of his combine, and I'm like, that doesn't really make much sense. I mean, combines for offensive linemen are way overrated. Yes, Tristan Wirfs was insanely fast, but that's not everything you want in your offensive line. Jedrick Wills is perfect for them. Jedrick Wills can keep room for Daniel Jones in the pocket. What was Daniel Jones' problem? Fumbling. So they need someone to just protect the pocket. They don't need a speed offensive lineman to go run and make a block. I mean, Saquon Barkley, yes, he is an outside runner, so it would be nice to get someone like that as well. But Jedrick Wills is the best fit for them at number four. At number 5, I've got Tua Tagovailoa going to the Dolphins. So every year, there's always a quarterback that I'm super hyped up about. Last year, that was Drew Lock coming out of the draft, and he impressed. I mean, in 5 games, he went 4-1. But with Tua Tagovailoa, I think he's definitely the most talented quarterback in this draft. I would still draft Joe Burrow above him. I've already said this just because of injuries. And I honestly think that Tua Tagovailoa would be heavily in the consideration had he not gotten injured in that past year. Tua Tagovailoa is great. People are forgetting that just because of his injury and Joe Burrow stealing the show. He'll be great for the Dolphins. Fitzpatrick will be able to mentor him in. Hopefully, they'll let Fitzpatrick play the first few games so that Tua Tagovailoa can learn from a veteran such as him. At number 6, I've got Jordan Love going to the Chargers. This is a spot that a lot of people are saying Justin Herbert's going to go at, but I just think that Jordan Love's a better fit. I'm not saying that Justin Herbert is worse than Jordan Love, but I just think that Jordan Love is a better fit for what the Chargers are because he's more similar to Tyrod Taylor, who they're using as their starting QB. What I expect to happen, Chargers are going to use Tyrod Taylor for their first 6 to 8 games, but after he's not winning them many games, they're going to switch over because Jordan Love's going to help them out a lot, I think. Jordan Love, I mean, he's not going to be amazing in his first year, but I do expect him to be a franchise quarterback down the line. So I think they get their franchise guy here in Jordan Love. At number 7, I've got the biggest steal of the draft. The Panthers getting Isaiah Simmons, a freak on defense. Plays safety and linebacker. He is exactly what the Panthers need. Panthers are just struggling all over on defense. Now losing Luke Kuechly, they need someone to replace that. And Isaiah Simmons, not only does he bring the linebacker skill to the table, he's also a tremendous safety. He won best linebacker in college football last year, and he was playing safety almost more than playing linebacker. He's just such a great hybrid player. He can play all over the place. He is a freak on defense. At number 8, I've got Jerry Jeudy going to the Cardinals. Once again, Tristan Wirfs is a really common pick here. And I've got nothing against Tristan Wirfs. I think he'll be a good offensive lineman. But for the Cardinals, Jerry Jeudy will help them out so much. Because they have Christian Kirk, who's a great number 2 receiver. And Larry Fitzgerald will be there for another year this year. Larry Fitzgerald is not great, but he will be able to mentor in Jerry Jeudy so well because Larry Fitzgerald is one of the best wide receivers of all time. He's just a little old, but I mean, his mind is still intact, so he's going to be able to teach Jerry Jeudy super well. And I do think Jerry Jeudy is more talented than CeeDee Lamb. Plus, I think he's a better fit for the Cardinals offense. And for Kyler Murray, this is huge. For fantasy football, we got to look at Kyler Murray as a top 5 QB. If he gets Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, and he still has Larry Fitzgerald, he's going to be a great fantasy QB. Now, at number 9, I've got the Jaguars taking C.J. Henderson. C.J. Henderson on a lot of people's boards is going to go lower than this. But look, they just lost A.J. Bouye. They already lost Jalen Ramsey. The secondary that used to be so feared of theirs is not good anymore. They need coverage people. And safeties they're okay on. They need cornerbacks. And I think C.J. Henderson will fit into their scheme really well. I think he's going to be great. He's going to help them out a lot. I still do think Jaguars will be one of the worst teams even with C.J. Henderson. But C.J. Henderson kind of reminds me of Greedy Williams a bit. He can't tackle well, but he has insane recovery speed when a receiver pulls a double move on him. At number 10, the Cleveland Browns get Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle. Tristan Wirfs had an insane combine. He was insanely fast. I've never seen an offensive lineman run at that speed. A lot of people are talking about Mekhi Becton's speed, but Tristan Wirfs was even way faster than Mekhi Becton. I expect Tristan Wirfs to help out Baker Mayfield in that offense. The Browns have a great offense. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, David Njoku, Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham. And I think Baker Mayfield will be much improved if they can just get a good offensive lineman like Tristan Wirfs. At number 11, I've got the New York Jets taking Mekhi Becton. Now here's another great fit for their system. I think this works out better for both teams. I think the Browns will do better with Tristan Wirfs and the Jets will do better with Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton, once again, another athletic freak of an offensive lineman. Every year we see offensive linemen getting more and more athletic, which is a good thing, but I've also seen a lot of busts that are athletic offensive linemen. I could see Mekhi Becton being a bust just because he doesn't have many offensive linemen around him to support him. But if they can get some other offensive linemen, he could be good for them, and he's just another piece to their offense because they obviously need a lot of help on offense. So if they can get Mekhi back in, it'll help them a lot down the road. At number 12, I've got the Raiders taking CeeDee Lamb. So yeah, I had Jerry Jeudy going before CeeDee Lamb, which is actually not a very common pick anymore, which I just don't understand why. Jerry Jeudy at the start of the year, everyone knew he was going to be going first amongst the wide receivers, but now all of a sudden everyone's like, oh no, CeeDee Lamb's going to be number one. And I'm like, no. I mean, Jerry Judy's obviously more talented than CeeDee Lamb. And that being said, CeeDee Lamb's still a great receiver, and Raiders need a great receiver. With Antonio Brown leaving them, Tyrell Williams didn't do as good as expected. Hunter Renfrow should be pretty good in the slot, but they need CeeDee Lamb as a deep target, and I think they'll get him. At number 13, I've got the Colts taking interior defensive lineman Derek Brown. So I know that interior defensive lineman is not their biggest need. They could really use a wide receiver. But now with CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy off the board, they just need to take the best player. You know, their run defense could have been better this past year. It was okay, but interior defensive lineman is going to help them out. It's going to complete that defense, in my opinion. They still got a couple other missing pieces, but Derek Brown should help them out. At number 14, we got the Buccaneers taking Javon Kinlaw, another interior defensive lineman. Buccaneers absolutely need an interior defensive lineman. Javon Kinlaw's grade is supposed to be a little bit lower than number 14 overall, but you got to take what position you need if they really need it like this. Buccaneers do not have great interior defensive linemen. I mean, their entire defense is flawed, but they really need an interior defensive lineman. And Javon Kinlaw is very good. Even though he shouldn't be taken quite at 14, Buccaneers should take him because they need an interior defensive lineman, like I said, and Javon Kinlaw's still a great one. At number 15, I've got Andrew Thomas going to the Broncos. If Andrew Thomas slips to the Broncos, they got the pick of their life. I mean, they need an offensive tackle, and Andrew Thomas on a lot of people's board is supposed to go a lot higher than this, but with the way I have it laid out, I think that Andrew Thomas will slip to the Broncos, and this is huge for them. Even though a lot of people want them to get Jerry Jeudy or whatever, first off, they're not going to get Jerry Jeudy. Second off, I think Andrew Thomas is even more what they need. They need offensive linemen for Drew Lock. I mean, if Drew Lock can be more comfortable, he already was great this past year. If he can get another offensive lineman, they could be a serious playoff contender. At number 16, I've got the Atlanta Falcons taking Clayvon Chasen. No clue how to pronounce that name, but Clayvon Chasen, some people pronounce it Clayvon Chasen. I've heard it several different ways. I honestly do not know how you pronounce it, but he is going to be the biggest steal of the draft other than Isaiah Simmons. He's a great power rusher. He's a defensive end. Him and AJ Epinesa should both be good defensive ends, but Falcons are going to take Clayvon Chasen if he's there. I mean, he's just great. Speaking of AJ Epinesa, I've got the Cowboys taking AJ Epinesa. He's from Iowa. He's a great power rusher. You know, he lacks some of the speed that Clayvon Chasen has, but he's just a great power rusher. And, you know, this is going to surprise a lot of people, but DeMarcus Lawrence, he's getting a little bit older, plus they could use another edge rusher. I think this will help them a lot down the road, and he's the best player on the board at this point, so I think they need him. At number 18, I've got Miami taking safety Xavier McKinney. Now, Miami has holes everywhere on defense. They need a lot of help, but Xavier McKinney will at least provide a start for them, and safety, because they got rid of, Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Steelers for a first-round pick. Now they're probably just going to be using that first-round pick to get Xavier McKinney, so it's kind of a wasted pick because it was kind of a wasted trade because we all know that Minkah Fitzpatrick is probably better than Xavier McKinney. I mean, who knows? Maybe Xavier McKinney could surprise us all, but I think he's a good safety. Don't get me wrong, but Minkah Fitzpatrick was a Pro Bowl safety last year. Minkah Fitzpatrick is just great. I think that trade was unnecessary. I know they were trying to tank, but that trade didn't help them any bit. At number 19, I've got the Raiders doing something that we do not see very often in the draft. But since when has John Gruden been a conventional coach? I have them doubling up on wide receivers in the first round of the draft, getting the speedster Henry Ruggs in this pick. Now, this does not happen often at all. We never see a team double up on the same position unless it's offensive linemen, but that's because you need 5 of them to run a functional team. You only need 2 good wide receivers to have a functional receiving core. Henry Ruggs is super fast, pair with CeeDee Lamb's threat, then you got Hunter Renfrow in the slot. That could be a dangerous receiving core. They could turn from having one of the worst receiving cores to one of the best just in one draft, and they would all be young players. At number 20, I got the Jaguars taking Patrick Queen, a linebacker. Now, everyone's saying that he's not going to be good because he's undersized, but you know how many times we hear this with everything? Oh, this quarterback's hands are too small. Oh, this dude's too small to play. Yes, size does play a role in football, but Patrick Queen is just excellent in coverage. You can't underrate him. He's gonna be a great fit for the Jaguars, and once again, with the loss of AJ Bouye, Jalen Ramsey, they need this guy. Yes, Patrick Queen isn't a cornerback, but he plays like one on coverage. He is just insane covering the middle of the field. I've got Philadelphia taking Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson possibly has the best hands of this draft. He is just going to be incredible on the Philadelphia Eagles if they get him. I expect the Philadelphia Eagles to also try to go out and get what's his name, speedy receiver, Robbie Anderson from the Jets, because Robbie Anderson's going to be a free agent. I think that Robbie Anderson can be their deep threat, and then Justin Jefferson has outstanding hands. I think they're just going to completely revamp that because Nelson Aguilar, I think he'll stay with them, but we all know how much he drops passes. Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, I think they're just going to move on from them, you know? They can't just keep on stockpiling these old receivers that don't even play over half the season. They need to start getting some of these young guys like Justin Jefferson. At number 22, I've got the Buffalo Bills taking T. Higgins. Now, a lot of people are going to say that the Bills do not need a wide receiver, and I agree. Cole Beasley and John Brown were great for them. I mean, that's a lot of the reason why they went to the playoffs versus last year, because they needed receivers. You saw as soon as they got receivers, Josh Allen was much better, but both John Brown and Cole Beasley are very small. So is Isaiah McKenzie, their third wide receiver. You know, they just need a bigger dude, and T. Higgins has a huge catch radius. If they can get T. Higgins, it'll help their receiving core a lot. The only problem is I don't think T. Higgins is quite talented enough to go at 22, so maybe the Bills will trade down. But if they're stuck at 22 and no one will trade up for them, then I do want to get T. Higgins. And that's what this mock draft is. It's if they aren't allowed to trade down or trade up, this is who they're going to draft. Well, I'm always going to get hated on for one pick, and here's it for this mock draft. 23, the Patriots get Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. Now, I'm going to get so much shit for this, but let me just read off them some things. So, I've got Bengals taking Joe Burrow, right? They got their quarterback. Dolphins get Tua Tagovailoa, their quarterback. And now, number 6. If the Chargers take Jordan Love, which I do think is a better fit for them, now look what's next. Panthers. They already said Cam Newton's their quarterback. You got the Cardinals. Yeah, they're not going to take him. They got Kyler Murray. Then you got Jaguars, who I think should take Justin Herbert, but they already said that Gardner Minshew's their dude. Now you got the Browns, Baker Mayfield. They're not getting rid of him. Jets with Sam Darnold. Raiders, and once again, I do think they should probably get a quarterback, but John Gruden seems very set on Derek Carr being their guy. Then you got the Colts. Now, here's where some people have Justin Herbert going. But I think they'll get Teddy Bridgewater. Someone's got to get Teddy Bridgewater. If they get Teddy Bridgewater, they're sticking with him. Teddy Bridgewater is a perfect fit for them. Now, if the Colts go out and get Phillip Rivers, then they're probably going to draft Justin Herbert to go behind him. But if the Colts go and get Teddy Bridgewater, they're not going to take Justin Herbert, obviously. Now, the Buccaneers, I expect them to stick with Jameis Winston, plus Justin Herbert's not a good fit for them. So that's the problem. They're probably going to draft Jacob Eason because they already said how much they like him, but that'll be like a third-round pick. Now, number 15, Andrew Thomas, the way Drew Lock played, no. Falcons, Matt Ryan's only 34. He's got another 6 years. Cowboys, Dak Prescott, no. Miami, I'm getting Tua. Raiders at 19, once again. John Gruden sticking with Derek Carr. Jaguars at 20 again. Gardner Minshew. Philadelphia, no. There's no chance with Carson Wentz. Bills with Josh Allen. And then here we go, finally. You've got the Patriots. Now, the Patriots are probably going to re-sign Tom Brady, even though a lot of people are saying they're not. They're going to re-sign Tom Brady. But the thing is, Tom Brady is getting older. So if Justin Herbert can learn behind Tom Brady, Justin Herbert could be a pretty damn good pick for the Patriots. Now, at number 24, I've got Grant Delpit going to the Saints. LSU hero, and Von Bell is going to be hitting free agency. Marcus Williams, and Grant Delpit's that guy for them, I think. At number 25, I've got Christian Fulton going to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, a lot of people are saying Vikings are going to draft Trayvon Diggs. You know, it'll keep Stephon Diggs there because his little brother's there. No, I'm actually saying Christian Fulton is going to be drafted for the exact opposite reason. The way Stephon Diggs has been acting, why would we want his brother? I more than anything want us to keep Stephon Diggs. I'm a Vikings fan if you haven't realized by now. But getting his brother there is not a good idea because let's say that Stephon Diggs does leave, the feud between us and Trayvon Diggs then, we just need to get to Christian Fulton. Plus, I do think Christian Fulton is a more talented corner than Trayvon Diggs. And the Vikings need a cornerback because, in case you haven't been following, Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander, the two cornerbacks that played the best of ours this last year, are now hitting free agency. Mackenzie Alexander will probably be re-signed, but Trey Waynes will not. Now, at number 26, I've got the Miami Dolphins taking a very underrated Josh Jones. A lot of people are saying he should even go less than this, but no. The Dolphins should get a steal here getting Josh Jones. And now at this point, they filled their QB problem. They got a safety. Now they got an offensive tackle. Yes, they've still got holes on their defense, but, you know, they've got Xavier Howard, cornerback. They got Jerome Baker at linebacker. You know, they've got some good players in defense. They still got holes, definitely, but Miami Dolphins are going to be much improved if they draft the guys I'm saying they're going to draft. At number 27, I've got Yetur Grosso-Mas from Penn State. He's a defensive end. Ziggy Ansah and Jadeveon Clowney are both hitting free agency. Jadeveon Clowney, they've got the room to pay for him, but if they pay for Jadeveon Clowney, they're not really going to want to pay for Ziggy Ansah. So they need to replace him at defensive end, and the combination of Yetur Grosso-Mas and Jadeveon Clowney, that could be deadly. Now, at 28, I've got the Ravens taking linebacker Kenneth Murray. It's actually kind of huge that they lost that game against the Titans because now they got a pretty good draft pick compared to what they would have because they need an interior linebacker. Kenneth Murray can fill that role. If they didn't have this draft pick, one of the other four teams that are below them would probably get him. So it's huge that they get Kenneth Murray here, and he'll fill a hole in their defense, really the one hole that they have on their entire team. At number 29, in this stacked receiver class, I have the Titans taking another receiver, A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. You've got three fast receivers, and that's deadly. I mean, we've seen other teams do this. When you get one fast receiver, stockpile fast receivers, because eventually you're going to have a mismatch, because not every team has three insanely fast corners. So Brandon Ayuk should be a great player for them. However, he doesn't have hands, but he'll be a great player, great route runner, great speed. Now, here's a guy that's supposed to have second-round talent, but I think is probably the third best receiver in this class, behind CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. Sadly, even though there are rivals, I have the Packers taking Laviska Shenault. Packers need a wide receiver, so even if there isn't a first-round wide receiver that's available left, they're going to have to take a wide receiver, and Laviska Shenault is so good. He is the best route runner in his class. He is going to be incredible in the NFL. I guarantee that to everyone. At number 31, I've got the 49ers taking Austin Jackson, offensive tackle. Now, yes, they have Joe Staley, but Joe Staley's like 60 years old at this point. They can't keep Joe Staley. They probably will re-sign him to a one-year deal, but they need to get a new offensive tackle, or else they're going to be screwed in the upcoming years. And now, for the final pick of the draft, I have at number 32, the Chiefs taking Jonathan Taylor. Now, if you saw my earlier picks, I had the Falcons trading down and then getting Jonathan Taylor. But in this mock draft, since I'm not doing trade downs, I have the Chiefs getting Jonathan Taylor. If the Chiefs get Jonathan Taylor, he is going to be a stud for fantasy football. I can't wait to draft Jonathan Taylor if he goes to the Chiefs. He'll be such a great fit for them because even though he didn't receive a lot in Wisconsin, he has that receiving talent, and that's exactly what the Chiefs like in their running back. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that Chiefs have Damian Williams, and Damian Williams does provide a lot of stuff in the receiving game, but Damian Williams is just, he's super fast, but he's not a run up the middle type of guy. So I think that he will be used still. Damian Williams is not going to just go away, but Damian Williams is getting a little older, so I think that they need Jonathan Taylor in there. Well, that is it for episode 3 of the ATFFBall show. If you want to get on next week as the question of the week, this is all you've got to do. Go to the App Store, whether you're on Apple, Google Play, support it everywhere. Search Anchor. Download the Anchor app, open it up, search up the ATFFBall show. That's the space ATFFBall space show. Now, when you search up my show, you're going to click on it. And somewhere up at the top, you can click something that says favorite. After you click the favorite thing, then you go a little bit to the right of it, and it'll say message. So then you can send a voice message from there. And like I said, I'll be answering one question each week. If you can't figure out how to do that, hit me up with a DM. I'll send you a link to the voice message, and I'll probably answer on next week's show. Well, that's it for the ATFFBall show. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to like the video, and thanks for listening.